Thank you very much. Morning, Judge.
Morning,
There is this thing that you are the most preferred person when it comes to high-profile cases there in Pretoria, and where JP sits in those cases. If it's a full bench, you are likely to be part of that full bench. Is that correct?
Sorry, can I just rephrase? Are you saying that I sat on a lot of full benches with the JP?
Maybe let me start with the first one.
Okay.
There is this thing that you are the most preferred judge when it comes to high-profile cases, one. Two, despite the fact that there are more senior judges there, you'll always be picked for high-profile cases. And two, that you'll sit in the most cases where there is a full bench led by the JP.
Can I start with the second question?
Yes.
I sat in one full bench with the JP. No other full bench have I ever sat with the JP. So I don't think that's correct. I don't know. The workload is divided as follows. There's no preferences. The JP has a roster, which he hands out the 2 weeks or 3 weeks before the next term. So you get a roster, and you allocate it according to that roster. So I want to say that except for the equal education matter, which I'd said to the JP, there's 3 urgent matters. We haven't got enough judges when I was DJP. I'll do one unless he can get me another judge, and we can do the others. I've been allocated according to the roster, not special circumstances. The only one, as I said, that I can honestly say was equal education, where I sort of offered because there just wasn't another available judge. You must also remember that urgent matters come in, which would be high profile. Okay, and they write to the DJP and they say, look, I'm issuing this, you must get me a full court, you must whatever. So we then write back to them and say, okay, that's fine, we'll try and see, and you're sitting praying, hoping a judge becomes available. We don't have extra judges. So by the time the matter is ripe for hearing, the DJP then phones the JP, and the JP, and he says, I've looked, no judges come free on the opposed motions, no judges come free on the third court matter. Can he free up somebody? And we often then go to the civil trial court because there we can free up somebody. So there isn't a preferential system.
Have you ever written a judgment for another judge in a matter where you're not involved?
No.
There has never been such a request?
No.
I see you were in the Transnet Group Tender Board. 2000.
I was what?
Have you ever been in the Transnet?
No.
Okay. Thank you, Deputy Chief Justice.
Thank you very much, Mr. Malema.
The alarm that just went off a minute ago was indicated the expiry of her 40-minute allocated time. So let's keep that in mind going forward.
I just want to understand this thing of acting. So you can be a full judge. When you go to the Supreme Court of Appeal even if you are a full judge of the High Court, it's a new environment, it's a new style of writing, it's a new way of doing things. So that thing of acting, does it give you an exposure and somehow improve your skill and teaches you how things are done differently at that level?
It does a lot, because you learn a lot from permanent judges who are there. And yes, that's why even when you scribe a judgment, you take their inputs because you learn. You learn a lot from acting.
And when a senior judge, well-experienced judge, who has been at the SCA for quite some time, gives you, the acting judge, a substantive correction to what you have written, don't you take that as not in the negative, but in the positive, and that you are learning and you appreciate that you're getting some substantive input from a well-informed judge who has a deputy president or acting president, should that be counted in the negative or positive?
I wouldn't agree with you more, Commissioner Malema. To
So-
me, and I always tell myself I learn every day. I appreciate when, especially senior judges, make comments to my judgments.
And therefore, it will be unfair for anyone to say, I've made substantive inputs to a judgment, speaking that to be meaning the negative. Because
It would be
that is the whole idea of getting you to act, to learn from senior judges, to learn how the higher court works, so that if you are appointed there full-time, you don't start to learn as a full-time judge, but you allow them, even if you are a high court judge, it's a different terrain and it has got its own dynamics and you have to learn those dynamics. And substantive inputs is but part of what you are there to learn.
10.
Thank you very much, DCJ. Judge, I see you trained magistrates in Namibia.
Indeed, I think it's justice. No, Commissioner Malema, I said, even if I don't see your name, I know.
Yes, so given these borders and the unity of the African continent, do you think is there any role the legal fraternity can play in uniting this continent, since you are able to go and train the magistrate in another country called Namibia? Indeed,
I believe so.
Yes, and then the other issue is the issue of being a member of the Academic Advisory Board at Free State, the LLB one.
Yes.
Do you think there is a need for decolonizing education so that that which you teach our children reflect who we are and make them to identify with the continent? As a member of the Academic Advisory Board, are you playing any role to ensure that the education, especially law, that we get to teach at school is decolonized and is a reflective of who we are? Thank you, DCJ.
I fully agree with you on that one. The only thing is that I think if you can see in my CV, I've not been long or roped in that advisory council. But yes, remember the laws and the laws that we teach must respond.
But, Deputy Chief Justice, I thought it's lunchtime or something. I thought it's lunchtime, because we are left with 2, and if we come back and take the approach that he is indicating, we'll still be in order.
I'm sorry. I was asking if we could not just interview the next one, because we should not be long with someone who's been here before. And then we can break off for lunch. Especially after the warnings that have just been issued by Commissioner Club. I think we'll be more exciting with how we ask our questions.
I thought the minister wants to come in here.
Oh,
The reality is that we are very hungry.
you are hungry? Yeah. All right.
And it looks like it's still 2, so I think.
Can't argue with that. Okay. How long is this lunch going to be? A full hour? 30 minutes?
No,
Yes,
I also want to speak about that issue of 30 minutes, because remember that we work here and we work somewhere else. So during break, we try to respond to all of the things that are happening in this country and eat at the same time. So we take the 30 minutes to eat and take the 30 minutes to do some work. So and that's how we accepted to come and spend all of these days here. So when you restrict us to 30 minutes, we completely lose the whole week. It's not going to work for some of us because we're all sitting here know some of other responsibilities that we hold in society. So it can't be that we are non-available for the whole week. So 30 minutes is for eating and 30 minutes is for doing some work and then come back and concentrate here, because it's not decent that when a candidate is here, you see an important call, you rush outside. This committee looks like it's not organized. So we allow calls to pass because we'll attend to them during break. So 30 minutes, it disadvantages some of us.
Colleagues, what do you say to the...
Because when we adopted this thing, you said we have a break for 1 hour.
So we take an hour then?
Yeah, but when we come back, we strictly
too
stick
short, so
to what Honorable Kaba was saying.
3, we should not be making our way back here. We should be sitting here ready to start with the candidate. Is that a deal? All right. We'll come back at 5 to 3.